Managing the admissions progress and ultimately the admissions status in campus login is fairly straightforward. From an admissions representative standpoint, I'm going to take it forward from the point that a lead has an appointment. Let's take this lead as an example. They have an appointment for Friday the 19th. And right now, I'm just going to make sure that they're a show. So I'm going to make them outcome. They showed up for that appointment. Great. I'm going to put in any notes. Great appointment. Need to check in on documents and financial aid next week. Something like that. Great. When I outcome that appointment, I should be booking a next follow-up. So that means is a check-in for me in terms of a phone call, a text message, any sort of follow-up to check in with the lead and make sure they're completing the steps they need in order to enroll. So the next step might be an interview follow-up, or it might just be a phone call. So I can say, I'm going to have a phone call with this person. Great. When's that phone call going to be? Let's say I want to check in with them on Tuesday. I don't have a specific time on Tuesday, about 10 or 11 or 12, but it's just at some point on Tuesday. So therefore, I might leverage my generic call list or my to-do list. So I'm going to say follow up, post tour, financial aid, okay, something like that. And I'm going to click save. Ideally, when you're having the appointment with the lead, at the end of the appointment, you would say something like, Ami, thanks for meeting with me today, or thanks for your time today. I'll check in with you on Monday or on Tuesday on those items or on that next step, whatever it is. And you'd ideally say, is 11 a.m. okay, or 11:30 or 11:45, pick a time. But if the decision is instead made to just say some point on Tuesday, that's where your generic call list comes in. Great. So now we have that call booked for the 23rd. Great. So what happened on the 23rd? 23rd, I'm going to make that phone call. You're going to see it not just on the lead's profile, but you're also going to see it on our calendar on generic call list right here. Great. So what happened with this call? Well, I left them a message. Great. Left message. We'll check in again Thursday. Something to that effect. And again, I'm just going to do the same process. I'm going to just put a phone call on my generic call list for Thursday to check in. Second attempt, post tour follow-up. Great. In the interim, the lead's completed some other items. So first of all, we know when they're looking to start. We should be filling in the desired start date based on our conversation with them in that admissions appointment. They're looking to start in March. Great. We can select a date, a month. Great. No problem. So we can select 2024. I can select any month, anything like that. No problem. But we might also, aside from that, we also want to update other items. Great. They have had their contract sent. We check that off. Great. If anything else has been completed along the way, you simply check that off as well. If the contract's been received, or all the documents are received, or documents have been approved, or they're enrolled. So for instance, all documents received. Same idea. Check this off. Right? Doing that simply updates the contact sheet and times and date stamps that. So now we know, if we look at the admissions progress, that the lead had an appointment on Friday, January 19th, and they showed up for that appointment. They had their contract sent on the 22nd, And they also, on the 22nd, we received all their documents. Great. And we also have a follow-up booked for them on the 25th to check in on the next steps and take them through and make sure they are following up and they're driving them to completion. As a check and balance, we should go from the leads tab to our where it says click here to view your call list. And here, if I select somebody as an example, let's pick Christine as an example. This list should be 0 because every lead that's had an appointment should have a next follow-up plan. If they don't have a next follow-up plan, they are on our appointment no future follow-up list. And you see this can be divided by people who had appointments, don't have a follow-up, people who've been interviewed and don't have a follow-up. So you can see for any of these people. Great. So pretty easy to see. Example, we can look at this person, Peter Shin. We can open him up and we can see, you're great. You sent them this, great meeting you and the team. Great. And we can see that their admissions progress is they were interviewed. They had the appointment on January 17th at 11:30, and they were marked as interviewed on the 17th. Great. So what we're missing now is what's the next step? How do we follow up with them? Are we sending them an email? Are we going to send them a text? Are we going to call them? What are the next steps? We want to make sure that every lead has a next step. And that process holds true until one of two things happen. Until, I'll go back to my test lead, until either they get marked as a student, and that happens when leadership marks them as started, okay? Or if you're conversing with your lead and they say, Ami, thanks so much for reaching out. It was great touring with you. Unfortunately, I've decided not to go back to school, or I've chosen another institution. Okay, that could happen. In that case, we want to make sure to change our lead status from active to inactive. Select our reason. No longer interested, they didn't meet requirements, insecure funding. They chose another school. Decided to enroll at so now they're not interested. That will take them off of your call list, and you'll be able to work forward with your other leads. If they re-inquire, they fill out another lead form, no problem. It'll kick back to you, and you'll be able to restart the process. But otherwise, make sure every time an appointment is marked as a show, we have the next step booked for them. After that next step, we should just keep that pattern going. They should always have a next step booked until they either become a student or are inactive. Even if they've signed a contract today, we should be checking with them until they actually start.